We welcome you into the season preview looking at Carlow men's basketball. I'm now joined by the second year head coach, Jake St. George. And first off, thanks so much for doing this. How's everything going with you?
It's going well, Sean. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm excited for another basketball season. I'm sure you are as well. Your team last year won 4 games. You went 3-13 in the AMCC. So, how did that align with the expectations you had?
Our expectations last year were more so less to just compete. Coming in as a first year head coach with the roster we had, wanted to really just go out there every night and try to put the best product out that we could. We were in a lot of games. I think we struggled to just put two halves together, most of those. But overall, with our expectations, kind of stayed alive.
What has been the focus for how your team can improve and take that next step throughout this offseason?
The consistency. So consistency showing up every day in practice. We've had a lot of good preseason workouts. We're starting to lift more as a team this year, which is something that we wanted to get to last year, but that's translating to the daily practices. You can see it in the way the guys talk to each other, the way they interact with each other. So getting more consistent in our day to day, and then hopefully that turns into the game.
You've been with this program for a long time in multiple capacities, but last year, your first as the head coach. So, what did you learn? What was kind of different about that role?
The biggest difference, I think, was obviously more talking. I had to grow into my voice, be more assertive, but a lot of it was outside of the basketball stuff. So learning from Coach Keith about relationships, working with guys in classes, getting them on campus well, the recruiting side of it, so a lot of learning lessons, transitioning from a assistant to head, but being around Carlo for as long as I have been, sort of made that easier, just knowing the community, knowing what you get when you become Carlo Celtic.
Well, you mentioned recruiting. So, what's your approach to recruiting?
Transparency. Uh, I don't sugarcoat anything. I'm not promising playing time to certain guys. I try to be as transparent as possible with the expectation of what you get when you come here. And that's just, we're going to try to treat you equally. We're going to try to set a high standard and we're going to demand every day. And if you don't want that out of a coach, then we'll keep the relationship going. I won't burn bridges by any means. And then I'll help guys whenever.
So, I know there were some really good players from last year's team that moved on. Riley Conforti comes to mind, Nehemiah Brazil as well. What are you going to miss most about that group of players?
I think the relationships. So three of those four guys were here for 4 or 5 years. So getting to know them over that span is a rare thing to have a player stay for 4 or 5 years nowadays. Uh, and then Devin came in, kind of was a voyager, came in from a JUCO from another school, and he had an immediate impact because he was an older guy and he had a good head on his shoulders. Uh, so ultimately that.
So, with that said, they move on. You still have a lot of key guys back who are returners. So, who are the players you're going to be counting on, and what are the expectations?
So a couple returning players that we expect to have bigger roles this year. Jimmy Giannetta is one. Adnan, a returner from last year. He was a transfer as a junior. Now that he's settled into Carlo, kind of knows the system, we've learned more about him and gotten closer to him. Uh, expect their roles to grow a little bit more. And then Clayton Cook as well. He's gotten a little bit stronger over the offseason, seems more confident in himself this year, coming into his third year. So those are some guys.
Let's talk about the newcomers, whether that be freshmen or transfers. Who are some guys who have stood out, and what is the outlook that you have for them?
It may be a political answer, but I think everybody stood out. It comes back to that recruiting talk uh, about transparency. So the guys that we brought in all came under the same expectation that they're going to compete every day. There's spots that can be earned. Nothing's going to be given to the guys returning, the guys coming in. So they've all stood out in each and every way. And we're excited to see how that unfolds. It's a hard job where you're forced to try to play everybody, and I think they're giving us a hard job right now.
I know that it might be tough to answer this because you haven't played a real game yet, but what do you think the strengths of this team will be?
I think one of the biggest strengths is the togetherness of the team, having 1 through 20 be focused on the same goal. Uh, this year, it feels like there's less ego around to where everybody's sort of locked in on the day to day, trying to learn us, trying to learn the system, trying to learn each other. So togetherness is something that we're preaching, and we think we've improved on it this year.
What do you like about the non-conference schedule?
We're traveling less,
That's always a good
so
thing.
less miles on our body. Last year we had a great trip to Boston, so we try to do that every couple of years to really get that experience. But we're going back home to Beaver County. That's where I'm from for a few games. So excited to go back there. We're playing at a Geneva tournament and then one of the Penn State schools up there. But a lot of competitive games on the horizon.
So when you look at the AMCC, the conference that you compete in, how do you evaluate the landscape?
This year's going to be interesting. Uh, in a sense, a lot of teams lost a lot of key players. I think, there's a lot of great coaches in the league, a lot of young coaches as well. So I'm excited to see Chris at Pitt Greensburg. They returned a lot of their key guys to see how successful they'll be. Uh, but a lot of teams lost a lot of minutes. So it's going to be cool to see what guys take steps in their roles, how coaches adjust their schemes, and then just how competitive it's going to be.
What are the goals that you've established for this year? And is that something that changes all throughout the season, or do you kind of establish something now and that's what you're going to stick with?
I think taking it one game at a time is a goal. A lot of the times we're looking at that end result to try to improve on our past years. Uh, but when you're trying to build a program, you're trying to build continuity. It comes down to that day to day, trying to just worry about being as best as you can that day and then hoping to improve, that 1% every day and see at the end what came of it.
So you return your assistant, Nick Miller. You add another assistant in Ryan Shank, who people at Carlow know well because former golf coach here. And you said many, many years ago when you were a player, he was also a basketball assistant. So what are their best qualities?
They're not afraid to tell the truth. I think that's something that as a coaching staff you need. They're not yes guys. If I say something, they're not afraid to tell me no. I think with Coach Shank, he brings a lot more experience from his playing days. He's been around the block coaching. So he's sort of that wisdom factor. And then he's allowing me and Coach Nick to have a voice and to kind of make our mistakes, learn from it, and just kind of be there if we need it. Uh, but they're both very good at what they do, and they're both open to new things.
Lastly, what would constitute a successful season for Carlow?
A successful season for me would be retaining everybody on a roster from day one to the last day. Uh, we want to try to develop everybody over 4 years. We want to build relationships over 4 years or however many years you're here, 1, 2, 5. But trying to build that culture, that culture is a hot word in every aspect of the world. Uh, but that's our goal, and then the results I think will be more positive. But at the end of the day, that's the main goal.
Well, Jake, thanks so much for doing this. Looking forward to another good season for the Celtics.
Thanks, Sean. You too.
That is Jake St. George, the second-year head coach for Carlow, here on the season preview. And we continue here on season preview looking at 2025-2026 for Carlow men's basketball. Jimmy Giannetta, a junior, now joins me. First off, thanks for doing this. How's everything going with you?
Been great. It's been a great year so far.
Well, I'm sure you're hoping for a great basketball season as well, but how did you judge how you performed last season?
I definitely feel like I played my role. Definitely feel like I came in, gave the team some good minutes, gave the starters some rest. So that's how I really feel about it.
And you were out there every single game. You played in all 24. So how important was that to be reliable and steady?
Oh, it was very important. I'm happy that the coaches put their trust in me and I was able to contribute when I was out there.
What do you think is going to be an area where you take a step forward this year?
Definitely my leadership skills, playing the point guard position, putting people where they need to be, just running the offense in general.
Well, you mentioned leadership skills. Probably have to fill a little bit of a void with some guys from last year's team moving on, some really good players. So what are you going to miss most about that group?
I would definitely say the competitiveness every single day in practice. We go at it every single day, learning a lot since they've been playing in college for a while.
So you mentioned you're going to be a leader, or at least you hope to be. Is there anyone else that you think is going to fill that role?
I think it's a lot of the upperclassmen, me, DeJuan, Clayton, AD, even some of the new guys who have taken that boisterous note into this year.
Well, you mentioned some of the new guys. What are the expectations you have for the newcomers to the program?
just to come in every single day and compete, bring energy, even if you're not on the court. Bring energy on the sidelines. That's how you win games ultimately.
What have you set for goals and objectives for yourself and then collectively for the Celtics?
Definitely get to the upper half of our conference, shock some people, go into their place, beat them, just win overall, and just create good team chemistry.
Any individual objectives?
Just to play better how I did last year, get my guys open, get my guys good shots.
So it's now the second year for your head coach, Jake St. George. What have you seen in terms of his development from when he started a year ago?
Yeah, definitely. So this year he's a lot more intense. He's a lot more confident in guys, talking to everyone a lot more, which I like. He's instilling that confidence into even the upperclassmen and the lowerclassmen, which he's majorly improved on since my first year, and I really enjoy it.
Lastly, fill in the blank. This will be a successful season if,
We come and play together as a team.
well, hopefully it pans out that way. Jimmy, thanks so much for doing this. I appreciate your time. That is junior Jimmy Giannetta here on the season preview. We roll along here on the season preview looking at Carlow men's basketball. I'm now joined by a junior transfer, Tomasi Pavihi. So first off, welcome to Carlow.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for doing this. How's everything been going for you?
It's been cool, man. It's been, really welcoming here. The guys are good, and yeah.
So what led to your decision to come to Carlow?
Coach Jake reached out to me. He seen my film, and we talked about a lot of stuff with the upcoming season. I thought they had a good culture here, and I thought we could really do something special here.
I know obviously you have some good size. That's evident. What is going to be your best attributes on the floor?
Just for me, man, just trying to do anything to help the team, whether that's trying to just get rebounds, whether that's to push the ball in transition, make open shots, just whatever the team needs me in a situation. I don't think there's like one specific thing I could put. I think just, just to be a utility on the team.
How have you tried to build continuity and chemistry with your teammates since you're a newcomer?
A lot of us have been usually after practice we'll go to Frank's, which is like an eating place we go to. Just trying to spend time with each other, you know what I mean? Just hanging around each other. We got a good group of boys, so everyone's on board with, hanging out and doing that type of thing, and just it's been a really good culture here.
So you're from New Zealand, so how's the food
Yeah.
here? Do you like it?
It's all right. I tried some weird sandwich thing down the road.
Permanis?
I think it was Permani.
Okay.
I think it was like a Pittsburgh sandwich or something. I asked what the best thing was, and they said, "Get this." I tried it, and it was pretty disgusting.
Growing.
Maybe.
So what are some objectives you set for this season for yourself and for the team?
Yeah, just to compete every night. Whether that's even that goes down to practice too, just competing in practice, pushing each other, communicating together, and just trying to take, every practice one step at a time, practice games, and just trying to build on that and just be the best versions of ourselves.
Is there any game you're most looking forward to?
Definitely the St. Vincent game, I think, because that's obviously the season opener, and I'm quite pumped for that game.
Lastly, probably the answer to this one's not going to be the food, but what is your favorite aspect of being here at Carlow University?
I think honestly the culture, especially in Pittsburgh, it's been really welcoming, and it's a very tight knit community. People are really hardworking here, and that really is it's a cool thing to see coming from different states in America, from New Zealand, just to see the different type of culture. And I think it's been people have been really welcoming and really kind to me, and yeah, it's been good.
Well, glad that it's going well for you, and hopefully you have a great season as well. So that is junior Tomasa Pavihi here on the season preview.